Alright guys, well, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Anna and this is my friend Ashley. We are currently in Paris. We've actually been here for 2 weeks and it's our last day. But I wanted to sit down and explain the first half of our trip because it was a literal hurricane. It was not good, guys. We're just gonna start from the beginning because I have a bunch of footage from this trip, but a lot of it will make sense if we explain what happened kind of on our way here and the first couple days. Okay, to begin. So we came on Sunday. We were supposed to leave at 3:15.
3:50.
3:30? We were supposed to leave at like 3:30, and then basically how it works, we'd fly to Canada, have like an hour layover, and then we would land in Paris at 8:30 in the morning or 9:30 in the morning.
Like 7. I remember being like 7.
It was really early. Okay, so I like wake up in the morning, we're like super excited, like texting each other. I go to brunch with my parents. Ashley picks me up after with some matcha. It's a great morning, like great morning.
I will say it's good that we're lighthearted about this because like if we were just like, you know, from the jump, it'd be a really shitty video to watch. I wouldn't want to watch it either.
No, hopefully it's kind of entertaining. But we, you know, we're on our way to the airport. It was great. Okay, we get there, everything's fine. And
this is when everything fell apart.
No, literally us stepping into O'Hare, the airport, like it went downhill from there. So we go up to the first, like literally the check-in kiosk where you check in your luggage and like it prints out your boarding pass if you don't already have it on your phone. And Ashley picked one that didn't work, right? And she's like trying to figure it out, and I already did mine, and then she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna use yours. Does it right away, and she literally looks at me and goes, I think that was the most difficult thing that we'll have to deal with today, so that's good.
And let's just say that like that was my downfall. That was our downfall.
No.
And it sounds so simple, like, oh, a kiosk not working, but like literally.
Okay, so then we go up to like check our bags, and Ashley has to fill out this form, and the lady's like, okay, you need to fill this out and then show me like this little QR code, and then you're good to go, like he can take your bag. And so he took my bag because I was good, and then we're standing there trying to fill this out, and her bag gets put on the cart, and the woman is like, you can't have him take your bag, like you need to take it off the rack. And there's like luggage on top of her luggage, and she's like trying to like yank it out of the cart.
She didn't let.
And so eventually, like after like 10 minutes of staying there, she like gets it. We feel like we're very much in the way. Like
vibes at the airport just are not good.
They're not like,
unless you're like on Xanax
when you're like
and you're listening to like calming music and like you don't give a fuck about what anyone's saying. Like I don't understand how anyone could enjoy themselves at the airport. It's so stressful.
So moving on from there, we finally check our bags, and we're going through TSA, and that was good. We get through, and we're like, we see people with Jamba Juice, and all of a sudden, like, a smoothie sounds good, right? So we're, like, walking all over this terminal, finding the Jamba Juice. Finally, we find it, and we're like, all right, great. And then we sit down to have the smoothie. I think 5 minutes after I sat down, Ashley's like, oh, we got an email from Air Canada that our flight was delayed. And so we did the math, and we realized that our flight was going to take off at the same time that our flight from Toronto was supposed to take off.
To go to Paris.
So clearly that wasn't working.
That would have been very bad.
And I'm like, I look at her and I was like, okay, so should we go to our gate and like get this figured out? And she's like, yeah, like we should. So we go to the gate, we're standing in line. There's already like 4 people standing there, I think. And we're in line, and all of a sudden our flight gets like completely canceled.
Yeah.
We're standing there and we're getting like emails from United all of a sudden, and like all this stuff.
No, let's talk about this. We're standing in line, we're like, okay, so like what do we do if they tell us like, yo, like we can't really change anything, like you're gonna miss your flight to Paris? Like I'm thinking like, oh my god, Anna's trying to stay calm, which she always is, but I'm just like, oh my god, I'm trying to stay calm because she's always calm.
I'm not always calm,
but you do better than me. And so we're like keeping it together. I look at the screen and I'm looking at it, and mind you, it's all in military time, so I can't, I'm trying to do quick math.
That's not it.
I can't do it, but I'm looking and I'm like, that looks like our flight, and it says cancel. And then we're like, well, that's so great, what are we gonna do? People behind us are like, oh, like everyone's like,
they're like, freaking Air Canada. Anyways, we get an email from United,
which is weird because we're flying Air Canada.
And so we get up to the desk and we're like, hey, we got these flights. And she's like, oh, you're flying United now, we can't help you. Like, you need to go to baggage claim, get your checked bags.
Bro, she's like, go get your baggage. I'm like, babe, go get what? She's like, go get your baggage from baggage claim.
And so we had to go.
Sense, I guess.
Yeah, so we had to go to baggage claim, which took 45 minutes to an hour, roughly.
Mind you, they just booked us a flight.
Another flight that like an hour and a half.
Like, yeah.
And we had to go to a different terminal after we got our bags, recheck in. And so here's where it gets fun. I look at Ashley, I'm like, we didn't book our flights together. Like, we did because we booked them like together, but not through like the same name. And so we realized realize that we are on completely different flights to Paris. And mind you, we're like obviously like alone at this point. And I get that we're 21. It wasn't that bad, but like we had
awful.
planned to like be next to each other on the plane, nap with each other on the plane, like watch a movie together. You know what I mean? Like you just, when you book a flight with your friend, like you expect to be on the flight with your friend.
Also, it's important to say that both of us have traveled internationally before, but we've been with like family or we've been with like school groups or something. We've never been like alone.
Yeah.
Like with just another friend, like without chaperones. So like it was a bit more scary upon figuring out that now we would be like in the air alone without a single soul we know, like on the plane. So
basically we go to United with our bags and we like check in there. We're at like the desk and we're like on the phone with this guy. Like we are just seeing any possibilities for us to be on the same flight. We're like, our flights leave in an hour, so let's just go through security and be on different flights. And so that's what we ended up doing.
Which sucked!
And she had a direct flight and I had a connection through Amsterdam. So I had to go to Amsterdam and like get off there, go through like customs there, what I think was customs. I don't even know. I was about to miss my flight. Basically, I'm like sitting in the airport and I'm like trying to like make it through this fat line, and I like talk to this lady and she's like, well, do you have like your flight information? I'm like, no, because I'm not checked in yet, because they wouldn't let me check in because I was going from United to my second flight on Air France. And so United couldn't check me in for my flight for Air France, if that makes sense. And yeah, so I'm like running to the gate. I check in at the gate, which is new. And
that's weird also.
Yeah, so then I get on the flight and I make it to Paris, and then I get off. And I was texting her and she was like, yeah, I went through customs. And I was like, Ashley, there was no customs like where I got off. Like I got off and there was one way to go to other gates and then there was one way to go to baggage claim. So I went to baggage claim. I'm sitting there and my flight's luggage comes, and you can guess where this is going. My luggage doesn't come. And I'm texting her and she's like, it took 45 minutes for me to get my luggage. And I'm like, no, it's not here. So I go up to this woman and she's like, yeah, so, and she kind of like looks at the computer and she's like writing stuff down, and then she goes, yeah, so it looks like your baggage is in Amsterdam. Like says it very casually, and I'm like, babe. And so she's like, yeah, well, we can file a claim for you to like track your baggage, like whatever, say that it's lost with Air France. And they'll, once it gets delivered at the airport, we'll drive it to where you're staying and drop it off for you. And she was like, you should get it by like 7 tonight. I was like, perfect.
That
like,
sounds awesome.
Sounds way too good to be true, but you know what? It's France, so I'll like trust you guys and know that you're different here than it is in America. I'm not really sure. And so we get in an Uber, and this whole time we're in the Uber ride, I'm just like, I literally can't believe I don't have my luggage. Like it's one of those things where it's like,
where am I?
Like I don't have anything. Then we get to our Airbnb and we know it's on the 6th floor and there's a lot of stairs to get up because there's no elevator. We're like trying to enter.
How many steps, Anna?
102. There was 102 steps to get up to our apartment
with
luggage. Like fat suitcases.
With a 51-pound suitcase. Because
and this staircase, mind you, also is like
this small.
Like tiny.
This small. Is this small.
Like it was the hardest thing ever. Okay, anyways. Then we finally get into the apartment and it smells a little odd. It's very small, but we knew it was going to be small. Like we weren't complaining about the size or anything, and we knew there wasn't AC. And so we like open up the windows and we're like changing, but I don't have anything to change into because I don't have any other clothes. I brought this Puma romper and I'm not kidding, when I get home I am burning it because
she wore it for like 3 days straight.
Yeah, so Ashley, as she just said, I wore it for 3 days straight because I didn't get my luggage for 4 days. So we had...
And that's so funny because the lady at the airport said you'll get it tonight.
We are like walking around Paris trying to enjoy it, and meanwhile I'm like very distracted by the fact that I just don't have my luggage. All of my like dry bar like hair products and just like shoes, Doc, sandals. And I brought on this trip minimal clothing items, but it was all of like my nicest clothes. Like all of my nice button ups, all of my like nice plain tank tops. So of course we go to Zara though, and I like have to file the receipt so I can get reimbursement. So I basically got a bunch of free clothes, which is kind of nice.
Either.
I didn't have pajamas, so I had to buy underwear, socks, a bra, like all of this stuff.
Let's say though, we were like, let's make the best of this now.
Yeah, we did do a good job.
We fell in love with our apartment. We got groceries. We made breakfast every morning. It was really cute. It had these cute little windows.
And then on Thursday, we were literally like, we made breakfast and then we went and got a crepe, and it was was really good crepes.
It's great.
And we were sitting there and I'm like, Ashley, like, I'm sick of this. We're going to the airport. So
I actually suggested that.
and then we had this hour-long Uber ride that was like a million degrees in the car. And the Uber driver,
This man would not turn on the AC. And there was traffic. So
And it
we
was
weren't
so
moving.
hot.
There was no
we were
breeze.
just like the sun beating into the car.
He also took a phone call maybe every 5 minutes. And it was on speakerphone and
So
me and Anna are in the back like dying. It's like we were in that for an hour.
We get to the airport.
Yes.
It was a little bit of a process to get it, but we eventually get my luggage. Like, I go in there kind of like...
They tried to tell her they didn't have it.
I was like, you have my luggage. I got an email that it's at the airport. I'm not leaving here without it. So I wait for it. Eventually, I get it.
I had to go. I went to get McDonald's and bring it back.
We finally get back. We, like, change, like, put on some clothes. I think go to dinner. The next day, we have, like, a normal day. We kind of, like, do the same thing that we had been doing. And, like, this is Friday now. We like spent all day just like walking around. It was like, I don't know, it was still like really hot that day, but it was
That
like
was
a little
the day
bit better.
before or the day after we got the big fan, right?
Yeah.
It was
No,
very
that was the
hot.
day we got the big
That's what I thought.
We had walked around like all day and we were really, really exhausted and we needed a bigger fan for our apartment because we got this tiny one. We also went and got some groceries and then we go back to our apartment and we literally like are sitting there like on our couch like sprawled out like bra, underwear, fan on us, windows as open as they could be with like the breeze coming in, but there really wasn't any breeze, so that wasn't even helpful. Ashley goes, I'm gonna go shower. I go, okay, like cool. I'll just preface this. We had an issue 2 days ago with a little bit of water coming up our shower drain, and we flushed the toilet. Everything was fine. Basically, she goes, Anna, there is literal poop water in the shower. And I was like, what do you mean? And so I got up. There's actually like a fat puddle of like water and it has like poop in it, rust from the pipes, it smells like pee, and
It smelled like a lot.
and I'm
of
like,
things.
this is just not real. Like, this is not happening. And so it was like 8:30 now on a Friday night.
We were gonna call it a night, which is worse.
No, and we were gonna call it a night. We were gonna like do face mask and like watch a movie. Like that
That's
was
what we were
Friday
gonna
because
do.
it had been
Yeah.
so hot and we were so tired. And so we're like, okay, we can just like try to flush the toilet again and like see if that works. So this indeed does
Not work.
make it worse, like a lot worse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a picture on my phone. We like tried to make it better, but we made it worse. And then all of a sudden we're like, you know what? This is just not it. We put some towels down because it started leaking into the kitchen.
No, here's what. Okay.
And then yeah, you can.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. So I'm like, let's try to flush it because the other day, there was some water like overflowing in the shower stall and flushed it and it went down. It was fine. So me thinking that would work, I'm like, let's flush it. It doesn't work. In fact, it does make the water like kind of come out even more and it's getting really bad. And I'm like, oh, that didn't work. It does in fact like overflow the bathroom.
And keep in mind, like, imagine the size of like a door. If you were to lay a door down, that's how big our bathroom was, like as a whole. So like it's not very big. This is where it gets good actually, because we called every plumber. Our Airbnb gave us 2 plumbers. One didn't answer and one didn't speak English. And our Airbnb owner knew that we spoke anyways. We were like helpless. We
All their parents, they
bring
were
our
like,
bring our butts to the store. We bought like 10 rolls of paper towel,
12, 9.
Febreze, some toilet like declogger stuff, I'm not even sure, and some gloves. And then we come back to the apartment and we hand sop up all of the water.
Mind you, we were trying to convince ourselves that it was rust. It was 1,000%
So eventually we
poop.
put on masks because we realized that this shit was very
Actual shit.
unsafe to be like inhaling. I found a picture by the way. And we had cleaned up half of it already. Let's just like mind you that.
It was
so this
all on the
was like
floor.
everywhere. And so we hand cleaned all of it.
We had to put
all of it.
towels against the
And so-
doorway because it was like almost spilling into
Yeah.
the kitchen.
And so basically we're trying to like think of another place to stay because we need a shower still and like, I don't know, use the bathroom before we go to bed. And so we're trying to like call like youth hostels, like literally just anywhere that we can just use a bathroom and sleep for the night. And so
We found one, but it was not a
it
youth
was
hostel.
a hotel. It was the cutest little hotel though.
was very cute.
We checked in at like 1:30 in the morning, shower, and we finally go to bed at like 3 a.m. We wake up the next morning, we check out, we go back to our place, and we're like trying to figure out with Airbnb like what to do. And so we like message them and file a claim and like send them pictures, say that our person isn't responding. We message him and like send him a long paragraph of everything that happened and how we tried to resolve it. He doesn't respond, and we basically decided I know. We basically decided to like pack up all of our stuff, and we go back to the hotel and we stayed there for 4 days. And it was great. Our trip was so much better. I had my luggage. We were in a place that had AC, a nice shower. Basically, we moved on. And then one more blip happened that was like very minor because it got fixed immediately, but we were on our way to we had to move to a second hotel, by the way. This is our second and final hotel.
Because they didn't have availability. The other place didn't have availability.
But we were on our way here, and I realized that the check-in date was a day after. And so we got here and we were like, oh my god, we're gonna be homeless for a night. But we literally walk in and we're like, oh, do you have any availability? And she was like, no, we don't. I'm so sorry. And then we were standing outside like trying to call other hotels. She comes outside and she's like, okay, I have one room, saving grace. So we just basically have been staying here like this last week, and it's been like the best place that we've stayed. Like the man gave us free breakfast when we checked in because he said we were nice, and all the stuff that happened in like the first like 5 days was just like a complete disaster. It was just a lot. And now hopefully my vlogs will like make sense when I like fill in like the pieces. We had the worst flying experience that could have ever happened, and then we literally cleaned up poop.
Quite literally.
I'm not trying to be dramatic, and like I know a lot of like people's lives are like way worse than that, and that's not what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying I live this awful life. Like I'm on vacation in Paris with my best friend. Like it's not, but I'm just saying like that was a very humbling experience.
It was humbling.
And it's like we can laugh on it now, like it's funny, and I'm very grateful that like we live a life and our families have enough money to be able to, so we didn't become like homeless, that we were able to buy different hotels, and I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, I just wanted to explain that story because honestly it's like hilarious and so chaotic. Okay, well, if you listen to all of this, thank you, and stay tuned for our other vlogs that will be a lot more fun, even though they're kind of sporadic because
she don't be vlogging.
It was hectic as hell. This will be the first one that goes up, and then I think there'll be like 2 more after.
Slay.
I'm ending the video on that.
Complete and utter slay. Yes.